Welcome to Transport Vlog and the voice of Paul, and in this video you're going to see the new Martin Place metro station before it opens to the public. And if you're not a local, this is all part of the extension of the Sydney Metro line south from Chatswood through the CBD to Sydenham and ultimately Bankstown. Martin Place is going to be a really important and busy station as it's right in the heart of Sydney's thriving business district. And it's the only brand new metro station to have a direct interchange with an existing Sydney Trains line. It's the largest of all the new metro stations and was one of the most complex to build, so I was extremely excited when this open day was advertised. It took place on Sunday the 5th of May 2024, and on this day I woke up feeling terrible, with a temperature, headache and a cough that just wouldn't go away, and I realised that my dream of seeing this station before it opened was not going to happen. But luckily, my good friend and Patreon supporter Jim Hook was as right as rain, and with his footage and a little help from another friend called Noel, and also Sean from Transport for City Vlogs, I was able to make this video without actually being there. So let's get into it. Martin Place Metro has two entrance buildings, Martin Place Metro North, which has a staggering 4 entry-exit points, and Martin Place Metro South, which has 2. And on this day, access was via the Martin Place Metro North entrance exit that is on the corner of Hunter Street and Castlereagh Street. So now inside, and looking back towards this entrance exit, and these stairs on the right lead to a second entrance exit, which is on the corner of Hunter Street and Elizabeth Street, and is noticeable by its distinctive canopy. And this is how it looks from the outside. The geography of this area means that there is a 4-metre height difference between Castlereagh Street and Elizabeth Street, which is why this entrance is higher and requires some stairs. The step-free alternative is via these 2 lifts that serve both this upper entrance level and the concourse level below. These massive floor-to-ceiling windows that face Hunter Street bring in lots of natural light into this entrance and also to the levels below, as you'll see shortly. So now introducing Luke Garden, who is the delivery director for both Martin Place and Waterloo stations, and if his face looks familiar, well that's because he appeared in my Waterloo Station Open Day video last year.
Welcome to the northern entrance of the Martin Place station. Behind us we have an artwork by Michaela Dwyer called Continuum. There's 2 artworks, one at the south and one at the north of the station. This northern artwork's called Mobius. It's a Mobius strip joined together. It's a really an amazing piece of artwork. They're 4 metres tall. It's just beautiful.
This station entrance is truly integrated into the new 39-storey commercial office tower above, which is simply called 1 Elizabeth. But its lift lobby is not at street level, as Luke now explains.
Part of Macquarie's proposal to New South Wales Government was to lift their lobby off the ground. So if you see up here behind me, the office lobby is up on level 1, and we've got this permeable upper and lower ground.
So around most of this area is an upper mezzanine level, and this is at the same height as Elizabeth Street. And although it's difficult to see from here, this mezzanine level extends all the way to the rear of this building. And this is where 2 lifts, 2 escalators or further stairs take people up to the 1 Elizabeth lift lobby. On the Castlereagh Street side, the mezzanine level can be accessed via these set of stairs. These are very close to 2 of the escalators, which is super convenient for people heading into 1 Elizabeth from the station. But they also go to 2 more station entrance exits, which are at the back of this building. One is further down Castlereagh Street, and it looks like this from the outside. Again, due to the height differences, this does involve a few stairs. There won't be a lift here as the other entrances are very close. The other rear entrance exit is on Elizabeth Street, and this one is more obvious with its distinctive canopy. This one will be step free as the mezzanine level is at the same height. This is all part of the through-site link, and its main purpose is to access the 1 Elizabeth lift lobby, but it's also a convenient alternative way into the station.
So we've got retail all through here. Macquarie's recently signed Loon Croissants over here on the right, and Industry Beans behind there. And then we've got another 2-storey cafe restaurant down here with a little cart pop-up option. So really this area is about making a bit of a place for everyone to enjoy, a bit more of a destination.
This is the underside of the lift lobby, and this whole area below, including the 2 banks of escalators, is called the Northern Atrium, and you can see all the way down to the platform level. This is a truly spectacular view, and gives you a sense of how huge this station really is. So let's head down. Behind the glass screen is what looks like another part of 1 Elizabeth. You can see some bicycle hoops over on the right, and this is part of an intermediate level that is above the concourse. Martin Place Metro Station has 25 escalators in total. You'll see lots of sandstone coloured walls. These are made of glass reinforced concrete, and it's the same material used on many of the newer parts of Central Station. You can now see more of this intermediate level that goes around the atrium. I reckon this is where the end of trip facilities for 1 Elizabeth will be. End of trip facilities are for people that cycle, run or walk to work, and they have showers, lockers, so that you can look good and more importantly smell nice when you get to your desk. And it looks like this is where the lockers might be. Now approaching the North Station concourse level, and this passageway with the illuminated blue walls is a pedestrian link to the south entrance and Martin Place itself. I will explore that in a moment.
So this is one of our biggest stations on the network. Just from the metro side of things, at Martin Place we're expecting about 13,500 passengers when we open. Definitely our biggest station for metro by floor area. So people come down from the northern entrance and they'll go around some retail areas here, really activated place. As you can see here in the main entrance, a key consideration was actually to get natural light all the way down to the platform level to create really intuitive wayfinding through the station. So the idea was when you got off the train here at platform level, you'd stand and you'd just look up and you just know where you are and how to get out of the station. I think even today on a cloudy day, you can see the light coming down, which is amazing.
This area between the two banks of escalators is a fantastic place to view the whole northern atrium. So this is the platform level below, and as you can see, there are two banks of two escalators, then the glass double lift shaft for the two lifts, then this concourse level, the end of trip facilities level, and the entrance level with the Mobius sculpture taking centre stage. Now walking along the western side of this concourse with the atrium on the right and a number of retail outlets on the left. There are about 30 of these retail outlets in total, including a number within the south concourse, which you'll see later. Over the next few weeks, these will be fitted out and will look a lot more interesting.
So these are our big columns you can see there, myself for reference. These columns are holding up the 38-storey building directly above us.
And in this very cool image, you can see the columns starting at platform level and then continuing all the way up. And here is a model showing the city skyline, with both the 1 Elizabeth Tower and the 39 Martin Place Tower that is over the Martin Place Metro South entrance. And although the model is fun to look at, it's lovely to be able to show you this for real. This is 1 Elizabeth here, and 39 Martin Place further to the south. So now on the eastern side of the North Concourse, with the escalators behind, and this is where the toilets are. Now these are very different to the individual toilets normally seen on Sydney Metro stations, but they do look pretty swish, and there are more of the familiar individual toilets at platform level. The eastern side also has a number of retail outlets. And this is where the two lifts from street level come out. So these are the same lifts that you saw earlier that serve both the Castlereagh Street and Elizabeth Street levels. And these two lifts come out pretty close to the Opal gates. So the distance between these lifts and the platform lifts is quite short. Now before going through the Opal gates, let's take a look at the pedestrian link that I pointed out earlier.
So this is the unpaid connection between our north and southern concourses. So this is actually part of the unique part of Macquarie's unsolicited proposal to New South Wales Government.
An unsolicited proposal is when a private company approaches the New South Wales Government with an innovative or enhanced solution where this has not been requested by the government. In this case, Macquarie's proposal resulted in the larger north entrance that we see today, and that was achieved by demolishing 9 to 19 Elizabeth Street, which was originally going to stay. And that's also allowed the additional rear entrances and through-site link to be built. And their proposal also included the two new commercial towers, more retail space, and this underground pedestrian link that is 70 metres long and 7 metres wide.
So this is directly under the 50 Martin Place building which Macquarie owns, and they've created an amazing light and sound installation here which will change throughout the day with different artworks that Macquarie's commissioned.
The concrete walls and ceiling have been left exposed to provide some contrast with the cladding that is used on much of this station. At the southern end, two escalators and a lift take people up to the south concourse level, and you get to see the other end of this soon. It's not just a visual experience, there are sounds too. Now introducing Mark Dunn, the construction director at Lendlease, who will now reveal the challenges of building this pedestrian link.
When we were excavating down, we actually found that the footings of the 50 Martin Place Tower, which is about 100 years old, were overpoured about 9 metres. So as we were excavating, we exposed the footings. And as we excavated, we had to install what they call steel sets to shore up the tower above it. One of the really interesting things about it is you've got a 100-year-old heritage building and you've got a 30-metre deep shaft right adjacent to it. So there's a lot of shoring and monitoring. There was minimal settlement and vibration during excavation. All of the excavation that was completed was well within the predicted, which was obviously key to the success of the job.
So now time to go through the opal gates and into the paid area. Again, there are two banks of 2 escalators to take passengers to the platforms, and between them are the 2 lifts. So heading down to the platform level, and you can see more of the sandstone coloured glass reinforced concrete cladding, and more concrete columns that are supporting both the station and the building above. So this is 25 metres below ground, and it's incredibly wide and spacious, especially at this end. Looking straight ahead reveals the 4 escalators that go up to the south concourse, and I'll come back to those later. And when looking back towards the escalators, you can see all the way up to the north entrance, and that's pretty special. And as Luke mentioned earlier, seeing natural light will intuitively guide passengers towards this entrance. It's truly breathtaking to be able to see all the way up the northern atrium, and to see the underside of the escalators and the lift as it descends to platform level. The lift doors are on the opposite side, so facing north. Now for the inside view. It's definitely worth checking out the views on the south side as you ascend. At concourse level, the lift doors are also on the north side. Now as far north as it was possible to go on this day, and there is a story behind this wall.
Behind us here is actually a soft wall for the future paid connection to Hunter Street Station. So it's a direct platform to platform connection. We've set it all up here so it looks like there's nothing there, but eventually this will be the thoroughfare that goes through. Depending on what the exact station solution is, we're hopefully going to use that as the spot where the escalators will go up into the new station.
And currently behind that wall is the Bly Street Dive, and this is where the road headers that excavated these caverns commenced their journey, and was where excavated material came out, but it wasn't just used to excavate the caverns.
The majority of the concrete that was used to pour the north tower and a lot of the south tower was all poured from that dive site, and it allowed us to bring all the materials down to site to actually build the station. And probably a key feature was being able to split the overstation developments, the towers, away from the construction of the station. Another key feature of that Bly Street dive was they actually used it for access into the tunnels, to build all the tunnels. So Limewide used it to pump a lot of the concrete for the tunnels, bring the sleepers in, track, everything. So a key feature of the job.
The Blythe Street Dive has now been handed over to Sydney Metro West and is being used to excavate the tunnels and caverns for Hunter Street Station. On the left and right at regular intervals are wide passageways that go to the northbound and southbound platforms. There are 6 of these passageways for each platform, and this is very generous, and it's clearly designed for the expected increased usage over the next few years, especially when the connection with Hunter Street Station opens in 2032. There are several sets of toilets at platform level, including 2 at the northern end, and each one has an ambulance male and female toilet and a fully accessible one further back. And these have the familiar push buttons that you've seen at the other new metro stations. And this is how it looks inside. When walking towards the south escalators, the lines in the ceiling are red, and this is to indicate that you're walking towards the central Sydney area. And when walking towards the north escalators, the lines are blue, and this is to signify that you're walking towards Sydney Harbour. It's one of those things that most people won't notice, but I think it's rather cool. Martin Place Station was designed by Grimshaw Architects, and they've certainly brought some unique and innovative design elements to this flagship station. There is an abundance of passenger information displays on this level, and these include some for Sydney train services. I'm just going to fix these ones though. Yeah, that's better. Ah, that's nice. This is right in the centre of this area looking north, and from here you can really notice how wide this space is. And this is where Jim found Howard Collins, and he was a colleague of mine back in 1999 when we both worked on the Jubilee Line extension in London.
So, Paul, I'm sorry you can't be here, but it's been a great morning. It's been fantastic to see so many people. They reckon about 4,000 people are coming through the day. This does remind me of the Tube Someway and the Jubilee Line extension that I was involved in opening 25 years ago this week. Take care and see you very soon.
At that time, the Jubilee Line extension was way ahead of its time, with platform screen doors and large cathedral-like stations that have an abundance of natural light. Sounds familiar, right? So lots of similarities between the Jubilee Line extension and Sydney Metro, even though this is happening 25 years later. So now time to check out the two platforms. This station is unusual in that each platform is within its own separate mined cavern. So it's a binocular design, with the platforms on either side of the central area that you've just seen, and the distance between each platform cavern is 45 metres.
So here we're under Elizabeth Street, and then on the other side we have the other platform under Castlereagh Street.
Excavating the platforms under roads avoids going below the foundations of nearby buildings, and means that the platforms can be closer to the surface. They're still quite deep at 25 metres below ground, but by keeping the depth to a minimum, the time taken to reach the platforms is reduced. The platforms are 210 metres long, which is sufficient for 8-car trains in the future, and they are 6 metres wide. One advantage of platform screen doors is that the entire width of the platform can be used at busy times. The platform numbers follow on sequentially from the Sydney Trains platforms, which are numbered 1 and 2. So platform 3 is for southbound services to Sydenham and ultimately Bankstown, and platform 4 is for northbound services to Tallawong. And yes, the whole line is going to be called the M1.
The signalling system we use is CBTC, which is the communication-based train control system. And the benefits of this system is that it can adapt to any incidents on the network to really space the trains out evenly. Tell us a bit about this platform and how it's more than what you see just here. There's other things like ventilation and services.
Of course, yeah. So it's actually a 17 metre high cavern, 2 of them, about 11 metres wide. We took this over as a constructed shell. Up above it is a ventilation plenum. That's a plenum that's for all the trackway exhaust. And then you've got the platform level, which is about 6 metres wide, and also obviously the trackway on the other side. And you've got some plant rooms at either end.
The platforms have these white bench seats that are built into the wall, and above the platform screen doors are dark coloured panels and then some diffuse lighting. And here is a view of the ceiling panels. Now for a totally deserted view of platform 4. This is something you're unlikely to see once the station opens. So now returning to the central part of this platform level via another one of these large passageways.
We're down at the southern exit for the platform level now. So behind us is the southern escalators that are debatably close to the longest in the southern hemisphere. Also, if you go around these escalators, there's the paid connection to the Eastern Suburbs Railway, which is quite a critical connection for us on Sydney Metro City and South West. So as you can see, there's quite a lot going on here down at platform level, and we've really provisioned the space for that future patronage that we're going to get.
So the Eastern Suburbs Railway Link starts immediately after the final platform passageways on the south side, so being in the southernmost car of a metro train will help minimise interchange time. This passageway is also wide and spacious, and on the left are 2 lifts. Now these are not for the Eastern Suburbs Line, instead they go up to the South Concourse, which you'll get to see very soon. So now continuing along, and you can see how this passageway will shortly bend sharply to the left. And that's to line up with the Eastern Suburbs Line platforms, which run in an east to west direction. And once around this corner, there are 3 escalators and 1 lift. The lift is painted red, and this is to reflect the red finishes that are used within the existing Martin Place station. So let's take a ride in this lift. Now that celebratory cheer doesn't normally happen when the lift doors close.
Yes!
Well, I guess it's an uplifting experience.
Yeah!
Thank you. I'm so glad you agree. Well, it's fantastic to see these young guys thoroughly enjoying this new station. To the left of the lift doors is a lift waiting area, and from there you get some wonderful views of the 3 escalators that come up to this level. This is walking from the lift towards the roller shutter, and behind that are the existing Eastern Suburbs Line platforms. Now we just need some video magic to get us through this roller shutter. There we go. So this passageway comes out at the western end of the Eastern Suburbs Line Island platform. So now returning via the escalators. You can see the lift in the distance, again with its distinctive red colour. This escalator shaft is between the 2 Eastern Suburbs Line running tunnels, and it also goes over the southbound Sydney Metro tunnel, and for these reasons this was very challenging to build. It also had to be constructed with minimal disruption to Eastern Suburbs Line train services. Notice the red horizontal lines within the glass reinforced concrete walls. Just like the red lift, this also gives a nod to the colours of the materials and finishes used on the existing station. So now back at the metro platform level, and you can see that this passageway is relatively short, so I reckon 2 or 3 minutes should be sufficient to interchange between train and metro services. So now approaching the escalators that go to the lower part of the South Concourse, and it's wonderful to see the Martin Place name engraved in large letters on the glass reinforced concrete walls on either side of these escalators. So now travelling on what will become the second longest bank of escalators in the Southern Hemisphere. The Central Station Metro platform escalators with their 2 extra steps will become the longest, relegating the Perth Airport Station escalators into 3rd place. These escalators are within a mined cavern that would have been excavated underground. The South Concourse is over 2 levels, and this is the ceiling for the lower level, and more of the upper level is now coming into view. So unlike the North Concourse that is a single level, this is split over 2. So looking straight ahead, you can see the opal gates and then 2 banks of 2 escalators that will take passengers to the upper part of this concourse. So now looking back towards the platform escalators, and as these come out close to the Eastern Suburbs Line passageway at platform level, they have the T as well as the M lollipop signs. And to the right of the escalators is another toilet block. And this is also where the 2 lifts to platform level are. These are the same lifts that you saw earlier, with the platform level entrances connecting with the Eastern Suburbs Line passageway.
There's actually quite a lot going on here. Below us is actually one of the running tunnels for the Eastern Suburbs Railway. Above us is actually Martin Place itself, the big open public domain area.
You can see some quite large columns that go through piles down in between and either side of the Eastern Suburbs Line. So the Eastern Suburbs Line is right below us. And all of the structure that was built around us was built here to reopen Martin Place, which is above us. And all of the loads are designed to go through the columns and the poles down through in between the tracks. Another key feature was actually maintaining access for Martin Place. So there used to be a temporary pedestrian bridge in the northern end of the plaza, and we built the Martin Place area in 2 halves to maintain pedestrian access. And then once we built the southern half, we flipped the pedestrians onto the southern half of Martin Place.
This then allowed work to be completed on the northern section, that is right against 50 Martin Place. So now outside of the paid area, and to the left of the glass screen are the escalators and lift that go down to the pedestrian link. And here is a reminder of how these look from the other end. The glass screen on the right separates this from the platform escalators and the other paid parts of the lower South Concourse. Just like at the North Concourse, there will be a number of retail outlets, and on this level they are on both sides. Here is another view of the escalators that go to the upper level, and now one of the lifts that serve both levels. So as we take these escalators to the upper level, I want to give a big shout out to Sean at Transport for Sydney Vlogs for allowing me to use quite a lot of his footage in this video. A link to Sean's channel is now appearing on the top right, and I encourage you to check out his Martin Place video whilst you're there. So now approaching the upper level of this concourse, and here is a closer look at one of the lifts, and this sign reveals that it has 4 stopping points. Passengers will turn around and continue along this upper concourse level to the next set of escalators which are visible on the left, and on the right are more retail outlets. And this T sign in the distance is for these stairs and lift that go to the existing Martin Place Station concourse. And that was achieved by reusing this old passageway that was closed when work started on this metro station. And this passageway will come out just here, so close to the stairs that go to Martin Place and Elizabeth Street. And peeking through the hole in the door reveals this reused passageway, and you can see the lift at the end too. Now back in the upper South Concourse, with the Sydney Trains passageway now behind, and from here you can see both the lower and upper escalators and look down into the lower concourse for views of the opal gates and the Pedestrian Link escalators. On this level there is also retail along the rear wall, which is above the platform and Pedestrian Link escalators, and this white wall marks the location for a possible future connection to the former MLC Centre food court level. The western wall also has more retail outlets, so with retail premises along 3 of the walls, this concourse could become quite a shopping destination.
Up above here actually, there's some quite nice intuitive wayfinding. So you can see here the blue, and that symbolises the direction towards the ocean. And then if you look the other direction, you can see the brown, which symbolises the Martin Place sandstone areas
So now for the final bank of 4 escalators that will take us up to the Martin Place Metro South entrance exit. You can see the dark brown cladding on the walls, and this is a key feature within this station entrance, as you'll see shortly. Just like at Martin Place Metro North, this entrance also has an upper mezzanine level. From the escalators, the Castlereagh Street entrance exit is on the west side, whilst the one for Elizabeth Street, which is via these stairs, is on the east side. More on this in a moment.
Behind us here we have the second part of Michaela Dwyer's artwork called Continuum, and above us here we also have Hanging Shapes, which is part of that artwork.
So this is a vibrant and colourful ceramic mural that celebrates the tempo and shape of train travel. It's designed to be looked at from different angles, as this is how passengers will see it as they walk through this entrance level, and the hanging geometric shapes add to this idea of movement. The escalators face Martin Place, and the use of glass here brings natural light into this area. And these 2 levels in front of the escalators will be for retail premises, and with their amazing views of 50 Martin Place, it would seem that cafes or restaurants would be the most obvious choice here.
Interestingly, you can see behind me Elizabeth Street, and it's not level here, it's about a 4-metre level difference. So we've got lifts here that service both levels, so you can get from Castlereagh to Elizabeth and all the way down to the concourse level.
So this upper mezzanine level provides step-free access from Elizabeth Street and has 2 lifts. And as Luke mentioned, they serve this main Castlereagh Street level 2 and both concourse levels below. So these are the same lifts that you saw earlier, and now you know where all 4 stopping points are. Can you think of other station lifts that have stops on 4 different levels? If so, let me know in the comments. There are both M and T lollipop signs at this entrance and information displays for both train and metro services. So Sydney Trains passengers could use this entrance as well, going down the same escalators to the upper south concourse level and then taking this passageway that you saw earlier to reach the Eastern Suburbs Line concourse. This entrance is expected to handle around 5,000 passengers an hour at peak times, so will be the quieter of the 2 entrances. But free ice cream was the reason for its popularity on this day. There are more retail spaces on the left, and again, I reckon we'll see cafes or restaurants using these. Many of the walls feature this large format stone cladding, which is designed to match the base of 50 Martin Place. It's also used on the external columns and beams too. And if this looks familiar, it was also used on the Martin Place Metro North entrance too. So this provides some synergy between the 2 entrance exits. Here is a quick flashback to March 2022. You can see the start of the cavern for the platform escalators here. And this area here is about where the entrance escalators now are. Here is another view of the entrance escalator area. This is probably the upper part of the concourse, so at this time the entrance level had not yet been built. Back to now, the 19th of May to be precise, and this is exactly 2 weeks after the open day, and more of the southern area of the Martin Place Plaza had reopened, and that made it easier to see both the station and integrated commercial development from this location. These are the retail premises that are on the corner of Martin Place and Castlereagh Street, and as I mentioned earlier, these are likely to be cafes or restaurants. Behind the middle windows is the bank of 4 escalators that go down to the upper north concourse, although you can't see these from here. Then on the corner with Elizabeth Street is the entrance area to this integrated station development, which is at 39 Martin Place. The revolving entrance doors are on Castlereagh Street, and you can see 39 Martin Place engraved on the column to the right of it. Access to the revolving entrance doors is also available from Martin Place via these stairs. And from these doors, 2 escalators and a lift will take people up to a higher level, and that's probably where the lift lobby will be. The station levels have the darker large format stone cladding, and the area above that is called the podium. The tower is set back from the podium, and the whole building is 28 floors. So that's the new Martin Place Metro station revealed, and it won't be long now before this incredible new station opens to the public. Of the 5 new Sydney Metro stations that have had open days, which has been your favourite? Let me know in the comments. A huge thank you to Luke and Mark for sharing their knowledge of this station on camera, and again to Jim, Noel and Sean for providing the footage. And thank you for watching this video all the way through to the very end. Please like this video, leave a comment, subscribe if you haven't done so already, consider supporting me on Patreon, and hopefully you'll see me in the next video. Bye for now.